right, we are live, maybe. Let's make sure I got the right link. I worry that it's not. Nope. That is not the right link. Which one did they call it? They call it this. I'm gonna have to figure that out one of these days. Pink. All right, well let's fix the link because that's not right. So let's reply to this. Let's do this. Let's copy this and delete this tweet. I wish you could edit. Let's add another tweet to the thread. I think it's how this works. There we go. And let's copy this again. Boom. Cool. All right, let me get this shared out on Twitter. We'll give people just a few minutes to find the right link, hopefully, this time. How can I put that in the right spot? There we go. And then let's make sure this is threaded pretty well. There we go. Okay. Hopefully that's coming across. All right. If anybody's out there, looks like a couple people out there. If you all could let me know things are sending. We'll wait just another minute for some people to show up. More people show up since I got the link on Twitter wrong. I don't know how they determine that because like there's a live dashboard on YouTube. You can copy that link. And you're supposed to be able to share it ahead of time so you can, schedule a live event. But when I use my little eCam program that streams, I guess it creates a new one because it was the wrong link. So, anyways, like I said, we'll wait just one more second for some people to show up. Let's get things going here. All right, cool. All right, cool. We got a few. All right, what's the time? We're right at 3 minutes. Okay, so yeah, I'll edit this down for future viewers. For those that are hanging out live, thanks for bearing with me. But let's get into it here. Okay, so I did a little recap earlier, so you're welcome to go back and watch that. But we'll pretty much touch most of that code anyways. So it's been a couple days. I got a little busy working on, the day job projects. So this one kind of had to take a back seat to things that pay. So as excited as I am, had to kind of, like I said, take a little break from this. But I did do a couple small things. And like I said, I recapped these in the other the other video, part 4. If you want to go back and watch the recap, I think it's like just 10 minutes. But we'll take about a half hour today and try to get a factory generator built. So just real quick, for those that maybe didn't see that, we're actually outputting, Blueprint's actually outputting the migration now. I'm just doing it in this little build folder, but of course these will go to the appropriate locations in your Laravel application. But just to kind of prove that the generation of these is happening, here's kind of that schema. So it needs a little bit of work. I'm still kind of spiking on some of these pieces. So we talked about how this could be like nullable timestamp all in one. There's no such thing as ID, as much as that would be really cool. This is like increments or something, I think. So that needs to be updated and things like that. So, but for the most part, it's generating the up, the down, the right names. You're getting that nice little time-stamped migration. And then also we're getting the model. And it's not just a model stub. Like I said, Blueprint's really trying to go much farther than that. You actually get much, much more. So you get automated fillable bits in there. So in this case, anything that's not some kind of, secretive or, kind of under the scenes, behind the scenes kind of column, like ID or the created ad, updated ad, they are all allowed to be fillable. This just gives you a nice start. Of course, you're welcome to, remove this or whatever. Casting, I talked about this a little bit more, but casting things is nice for just better typing that happens inside of Laravel. And I've run into problems like that, like I mentioned in the recap, where like I tried to do some strict equality on after setting something from some form data and like it didn't work, and it turned out that of course the form data was a string, and then the model that I assigned it to was a string but not an ID, or sorry, not an integer like I expected. So being able to generate things like this is again all just more examples of that intelligence that Blueprint's going to have that I just don't think other tools and so forth out there have. There's just an opportunity for this thing to be like more robust. So again, nothing against any of those tools. I use them every day. The make commands are awesome. There's the Laracast generators that are out there, and other things that people have told me about. But again, just the ability to maybe define these really simple bits here is just I think it's going to be pretty cool that it generates all these things. And so to that point, what I want to do, the piece that I haven't done yet before I move on to like controllers and some of this cleanup, is this factory. So right now we can see that the migration stub is being used to generate what we just looked at. There's some model pieces in here. So the class is being used to generate a model, and then properties is getting filled based on, do you have anything that needs to be cast? Do you have fillable? Do you have dates? And if you do, then it all shows up here, which is great. So I think the next thing to do is a factory, and that's what I want to work on today. So this will be a good recap anyways of some of the code that's been written already. So I think in part 3 we worked on the lexer. I've probably since broke that out into its own lexer. I think there's going to be ability to register your own custom lexers. This is going to make Blueprint like really extensible, where you're able to do some things after the fact. So people could even make, packages for Blueprint or something like that, or into Core, depending on what it is. So we'll see. So, pie in the sky ideas there. Who knows? Like I said, maybe I'll be the only one using it, but I still think it's fun. So right now the generators are very static, like we've been doing before. There's nothing very fancy here. And again, I have this concept of like a registry where you can register, your own generators that are going to receive this syntax tree or whatever. So some of that's just a spike, obviously, not really complete yet. So let me just pull that out of there. And what we want to do basically now is just, again, to kind of spike on this for the purposes of the live stream, what I want to do now is like a factory generator. And that's such a generic, like computer science name of something. It's so funny. But it actually makes sense in this case to use this factory generator. So let's create one, and it's going to be the factory generator. And this, I guess, more aptly is the model factory generator. I don't know why I'm getting double spaces in there, but whatever. And what we're going to do is we'll just kind of take a peek at some of these other things. So what we have is these methods right now just have some kind of output method on them. And I haven't abstracted that into a contract or an interface or anything just yet, but again, I probably will, just to kind of give it some structure around people making their own. But what this is going to do is it takes that abstract syntax tree, if you will, or the thing that the lexer returned, which is basically all those model and column definitions here that we've kind of worked on in previous videos. So what we can do now is basically take this factory, and this is going to be the factory stub. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this, and we want to start changing this and generating one of these based on kind of like this model and so forth. So just for the purposes of speed, let me just bring up like one of these model generators off to the side, and it'll be a good way to recap these as well. So let's see what we have going here. Okay, so we have this factory generator. We're going to bring in the factory stub. We're going to loop over all the models that are in your definition, and we're going to make sure to generate these things now. So we're missing this get path, so let's just kind of see what we did before, or I did before, um, here for this migration one. So here we go, get path. And again, this is all just hard coded as build for now. A lot of this is going to end up being dynamic down the road. So we're going to take the model name, and then I think the convention is probably factory behind this. So this will be like the, in our case, the post factory, right? So that makes sense. So that's good. So there's the get path, and now we have this populate stub, and this is actually really similar to the artisan make commands. They kind of follow this paradigm. So I thought it'd be nice, again, since this is initially kind of for Laravel, I thought it'd be nice to kind of just continue to kind of adopt and grok, their kind of patterns. So we got this, whoops, not property stub, populate stub is what I want. Where is that? If anybody knows a awesome way to quickly find a method in PHP Storm, I'm all ears. Okay, so we're going to need to change out this namespace, which now is just going to be app. We're going to use a dummy class, which again is just the model name, and then we're going to change this definition with these other bits here. So this is actually going to be build definition. And I think what we're going to do here is figure out all the different columns and whatnot. But I think the migration generator would actually be a better start for this. So let's take a look here. Yeah, we have this build definition, and this is going to loop over these. So I think this is probably going to be a better start. So let me borrow this. And I think from here, I'm not going to worry about doing anything else with this. I don't think we need any more path. I don't think we need the class name. That's something else. So let's close this down and let's take a look at this factory stub. Okay, so what's going to happen with this factory stub is this is just out of the box from Laravel. We got this dummy namespace that's going to get swapped out to app. Dummy class is going to be the model name. And then from there, since we've imported it, once of course that gets replaced, we can reference that directly here. And then we're going to replace the definition with all the different column names that we have, and then whatever their faker version is. So real quick, real dirty, real ugly, let's do this. Let's have this definition loop over the columns, and we won't want the column data type. Instead, what we're going to want is the column name, which is here. That's fine. And let's just do something real simple for now, like arrow space, and then the rest is going to be whatever the definition is. So I'm going to get rid of all this code for now, and we're just going to simply do something really basic here. We're just going to do like, just to kind of see how this is going to work. We'll do like faker arrow word. Now obviously we want this word to be much cooler than what it is. Excuse me, and we're not going to worry about the timestamps. And what I want to do is I just kind of want to run this, either see it explode or kind of see it work to ensure that we're on the right track. So again, when I'm spiking like this, like I'm not too worried about tests. I'm not too worried about things being pretty. Like I just kind of want to see that the path through makes sense. So look, we got this post factory. And there we go. Look at that. App post class, return IDs. Okay, I got semicolons there, which is not good. So let's fix that. These will be commas. All right. So let's try this again. Let me just get rid of all this. And let's rerun our little bit. And there's our post factory. And it's not formatted yet, so I'm just formatting it in PHP. So, okay, so we have ID, faker word, title, word, content word, faker word, all that's there. I'm not getting completion, of course, because faker's not part of this project. But that's pretty much what we're after doing here. Like that's how simple one of these generators can be. And that's kind of the beauty of like having this language, right? Like just this YAML definition gives us that much more power. And the fact that like Blueprint's going to have this memory of the past models that you have and so forth, it's just going to make it like really, really nice to be able to kind of generate things for you without having to necessarily always be defining all those little bits of information. And then from these really basic bits of information, like string or big text or whatever, we're going to be smart enough to figure out like the right thing here. So instead of this, it's probably something like random, digit, not null, right? So there's all sorts of faker properties. And so that's what I want to focus on next. And when I was thinking about this earlier, it actually gave me a little bit of an idea. I'm hearing the chat pop a little bit. Let's see what kind of chat stuff we got. Command, oh yeah, going back to PHP Storm. Command R on the Mac is list search methods within a class. Nice. Let's check that out real fast. So Command R? No. Command R on Mac. It's not Command R. Maybe Control R? I don't know. Command Shift R? Whoa, no. So those are replaced. Okay, well maybe I've got a key map different or something. Okay, anyways. What I was going to say was I worked on Marcel's Laravel Test Factory helper. And what this does is it looks at your current model definitions, or sorry, current models in the database, and it generates the model factories for them. Now, what's interesting inside of here is I remember when I worked on this that there was kind of like this little inline helper, this generate command thing, and somewhere down here they had this, yes. So they had a mapping of all the different like kind of names, like column names, for example. So like if you have first name, it's going to use faker first name. So there's all sorts of little definitions inside of here already that I remember. And I've actually had a need to use these like 2 or 3 times. So not just in Blueprint, but Shift. And then there was a project I was working on where I made like my own little script. And I thought it would have been really nice to, again, know like these definitions or these like translations table. So what I want to do actually is I want to take this bit here and we're going to copy and paste it for now. But what I want to do is actually abstract these into their own tiny class and then share that as a package. And then Blueprint as well as this can use that. But the real beauty of it is that that package is like super, super tiny where like people can go in, anyone now, because it's open source, can go in and register more and more things for Faker. And we can over time make this, smarter and smarter and smarter. So again, it's all about that like collective intelligence. So I think there's so much power there with something like this. So, as more data types come up, we can create a basic one. But even more specifically, like if you have a column named email, like we know we want to use safe email, right? Like just knowing those mappings, just a really, really tiny package would be cool. And again, maybe something like that exists already, but I don't know. I haven't found it if it does. So I'm going to make one myself, and then if one already exists, then I can abandon it and point people to the to the good one. But let's start with this. So let's go back to the factory generator. And what I want to do is I just want to bring basically that whole method in here for now. And we'll just kind of build this class or these methods inside of this factory generator. But once I've kind of proven all this, I'm going to abstract it out into its own package, just a single class package that just basically can do this for us. So what I'd like to do is basically say, okay, first, let's see if Faker, what do we want to say here? Faker, yeah, let's just say Faker for now. So Faker is going to be equal to this get Faker data? I don't know. Yeah, so Faker data for column, and so this will be like column name. And then if that doesn't return anything, or returns null in this case, then I'm going to fall back to using its like Faker data type or something like that. So, and here, this would just be the column data type, right? And so this is name. And now I want to break these up into two separate methods. So first we're going to do faker data, and let's call it name here. And this is going to force us to be a string. And what we can do is basically say, we don't want to do that. That's too fancy. And I don't want to do the types. So let's go ahead and copy this method to another method. Whoops. To another method. Cool. And this will be faker data type. Cool. And I might clean up these names. I'm not super sold on those, but anyways, the point is that we have this one's going to be for the fake data. So there's going to be a whole list of all these different things, and I'm actually going to get rid of this. So let's get rid of all those. I just want it to be the kind of like the other side of the equation. I don't think you would ever want that. So basically what I'm trying to demonstrate here is like password is just like password or something. And this remember token string random, like that's a little too specific, I think, to Laravel. So, and again, we could get it in there, but I'd rather use faker for it. And so now at this point, basically what we can do is we can attempt to return that directly, otherwise return null, right? So we can basically just say return whatever our little fakeable names are here, and then whatever name we pass in, or null, right? And the only reason I'm doing this null coalesce thing is actually, I think without it, this would throw an error if, or a warning at least, if one of these names didn't match inside this particular array. So, and again, once we class this up, I won't be statically defining these, or I will be statically defining those to make it a little bit easier. And then finally, otherwise, we're going to use your data type. So we'll say, in this case, fakeable types is going to be that, and this is going to be the type. And let's make sure we got all this right. So this is now a type. And let's get rid of all those. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. All right, and we'll take those out. Okay, so let's kind of see where we landed now. Pretty crazy. Okay, so faker is going to come across, and now we're going to say faker and then dot faker in this case. So let's just kind of see what this looks like. Definitely opportunity to clean that up a lot, but didn't explode. That's good. Let's look at post factory. Okay, cool. So we have title, we have word, we don't have a published at. It seems like it's not falling back very well to that other bit. And what's also interesting is we probably want to ignore the ID column. So let's do that. So let's say if model, whoops, or if column name is equal to ID, whoops, ID, we probably want to skip that. We're not going to inject an ID, right? That's weird. So let's just continue, and then let's run this again. Just gonna see, I'm gonna bring this off to the side because we're probably gonna start running this a lot. Okay, so word, and then published at is not working out correctly. So what's wrong with faker data type published at? That should be, oh, it's not. Let's do a timestamp. There we go. There it is. Okay, cool. So we can see how faker's working now off of this registry. And again, minus the formatting, this is actually pretty good. Let's go ahead and tweak this a bit by throwing in a title. It would also be really cool if these were in alphabetical order. They seem close, actually, now that I'm looking at it. Huh, yeah. QRSTUV, okay, so right here, title is going to be title. I'm pretty sure faker has a title. All right, let's run this and then I'll check the chat because I can hear some stuff coming across. Awesome, cool. So there we go. Faker title. I think title's one. Let me check here. Faker PHP title. Is there a title? Oh, I think title's Mr. and Mrs. Okay, we probably want like a sentence with maybe just a couple words. Yeah, I think that's what we want. Let's do that instead. That's fun. So let's do sentence of like 4 words. Let's try that. Cool. So yeah, so we can see how this translation map works, right? It's going to give us whatever the kind of property of faker is supposed to be. And, using that's going to allow us to do some pretty cool things where, again, we don't have to write a lot of code. And this is definitely something that I could foresee, these 2 methods. And again, I'm gonna make them a class and clean them up a little bit, but it's definitely, just a simple little static class like that would be really nice to be able to kind of just register these and send them back, to someone. So I could see other packages wanting to use that and getting some value out of that. Plus, even if nothing else, even if Blueprint's the only thing that uses this, it's still a nice place to not have to always bump the version for Blueprint when only simple things like these translation mappings are changing. So I can actually manage that package quite separately. So I think that's probably a good idea, again, regardless, but I do think other people would get some use out of that. So okay, so let me review the chat here, and then we'll probably call it quits for the day. Okay, cool, Corey. Thanks, man. I'll take a look and see about that navigation in PHP Storm. Good. Yeah, glad you all are enjoying the videos. Thanks. Sorry for the delay. Like I said, getting ready to head to LayerCon AU, so or Australia, so it's like a 24-hour flight. So there's a lot of other things I need to finish before I go on vacation / conference speaking engagements. So yeah, I missed out the last few days, but I'm gonna try to obviously this one I'm gonna do one more tomorrow, and then hopefully from there we get a pretty clear picture of like, now I just need to build the controllers, right? Because we're getting pretty close here. This is pretty cool. Like, it's generating a crap load of migrations, but the point is, this is pretty fun. What else we have? You can add static before fake types, since it's just, yes, you're right. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on these, but yes, absolutely. If this were a real world scenario, I would definitely want to add like static here to make sure that I'm not like setting those variables over and over and over again. So what's really going to happen is I'm probably going to make like again, probably 2 classes and just make like a private static thing and then have like a get inside of there. So, and yeah, again, totally right. I have that too, I think. This like line sorter thing, string manipulation, sort lines or something. Yeah, case. I can do all sorts of things in there. So, yeah. So I think that's probably going to be it for today. I think my goal before tomorrow's bit is probably going to be to break these out a little bit more, and maybe what we'll do tomorrow is we'll focus on backfilling the tests, maybe doing those live, because I haven't really demonstrated much testing, and I'm doing it behind the scenes, but I think that's not a fair assessment of maybe really how I'm working. So I think maybe that's the final piece to demonstrate, and then from there, I'll probably be doing the rest privately while I'm traveling. So any final questions, send them across. Otherwise, we'll stop here. Like I said, I'm going to review, all this stuff. There's so many faker properties that can be used. Again, I think there's a lot of value in this particular bit. So I'm going to take a look at this a little bit more and try to break that out. So again, thanks for watching the live stream. Tomorrow, probably around 2 p.m. Eastern, we'll do another one. So follow that thread on Twitter, and I'll see you all then. Thanks.